Hello, my name is Gabe Hillebrand, and we are working with the app FlashHat. Here's our persona. It's a good looking fella. Mike Andrews. He's 28 years old, married, a former golf pro. He is currently a medical student, golf instructor. He is a Bachelor of Arts in Biology, and he's a medical doctor candidate. Some of his goals are that he needs to pass a federal medical test, specifically for med students. He's constantly learning new medical terminology. Overall, he needs to stay focused and motivated. He wants to get through med school in the shortest amount of time possible, and he wants to have a proper life study balance, considering that he's newly married. His quote here is that it's really challenging studying for medical school, being married and working. I'm excited to start my career, but I need to get through school and make connections along the way. He also wants to nail down a system for learning. Some of the challenges faced by Mike. He's a medical student and needs to learn medical terminology and to feel prepared for tests and connecting with other medical professionals. As a full-time student, he needs to study in long sessions, but also in short bursts, such as the commuting on the train after he's left the library. As a former golf pro and instructor, he's constantly meeting people on the course, and he wants to connect with them. So he's going to be studying their accomplishments and have conversation starters. As someone who is easily distracted, he doesn't need too much extra stimulus. Here's our problem brief, the app FlashHat. And we are designing an app to help mature students organize and study massive amounts of vocabulary. Mike needs an effective way to access massive amounts of medical vocabulary, articles, and video lectures because he needs to study often and on the go. Here's our competitive analysis. We looked at Quizlet, Flashcard++, and Flashcard Maker. And to highlight some of the negatives, with Quizlet, we just needed more interactivity. Moving between screens wasn't terribly intuitive, and there was no option to swipe or get to the next screen. Generally, moving around on the app was awkward. For Flashcard++, negatives, it was cumbersome and confusing. Layout feels overly complex. It should be far more simple. It needs more interactivity. The graphics are just plain old-fashioned. For Flashcard Maker, there was ads that were distracting. It was simplistic and just didn't have a lot of depth to the whole thing. Here is our user flow. Pretty simple. Everyone who's done this sort of thing, tap the app and then you get into the account, yes or no. You can sign up with Gmail or Facebook or just do your email. And then it was pretty straightforward from there. On the other side, on the right side here, we have, our entry point is the home page and, how to create a study where you go to file, hit view card, etc. Here is our Crazy Eights. This was our brainstorming session as a team, just to figure out the layout, how we wanted the cards, how we wanted them to come across the screen. This was a lot of fun. We had some good team building on this along the way. Here's some of the early prototypes. Some of the goals with the app is we wanted to make it instantly engaging but not distracting. We wanted it to be a tool rather than a toy. Focus on relevant text and obvious placement. To have straightforward categories, intuitive, simple process. And again, flashcards for a mature student. The usability tests. we decided to test the following. 1, sign up. 2, create a new flashcard. 3, study. 4, search. We wanted to test the main features and purposes of the app. These are key components to helping students, mature students organize and master large amounts of material. We also want to see how they'd respond to these visual features. Vital features. Here are the results. With sign up, it was pretty flawless, no problems across the board. We tested 4 different individuals, ranging from, I think the oldest one would have been 40, the youngest one was 23. It was really good to get a cross-section of both groups. But again, to create the new flashcard, users had a hard time understanding if the card was saved or how and when to create a new card. And this feature, hands down, needs to be revisited before the app can be released. Studying was fairly simple across the board. However, people didn't really catch on to how it was swiping. This feature also needs to be adjusted. 4 was search. This was completely flawless. They just hit search and search. Some of the issues with creating a new card. They would go over here and they would hit new file. This would immediately send them to the first flashcard. They would name the file that this flashcard would go in. One of the issues is that once they press saved, they didn't really understand that they were in the next screen. Here's the back of the card. The people who figured this out were the people who just read card front, card back. But we need a little something extra to help it move. We'd also, some people were confused by the X out next to the edit button. Some of them assumed the X just deleted it actually. The other thing we want to do is just, there's a little bit of a confusion under new file here. With studying, the issues weren't too bad. We have lots of pictures here just so you can kind of see the process. It hit study, hit the file they're in, and then you see the flashcard. Here's the back, and you can move to the new one. The only issue with the flashcard is that they would hit this, not understanding this was a swipe mechanism. So we're going to address that issue. Problems. Creating flashcard. We categorize this as a usability catastrophe. We need some sort of visual transition so it's being saved. And clean up the transition between the front and back of the card and from card to card. Solution, create flashcards. We will add a moving saved graduation hat icon so it's obvious it'll be saved. Make the back of the card a different tone, texture, help us identify the back side. We want to move the edit button to the other side. And potentially make the X button a home button. Also, we want to change new file button to new card. As far as studying goes, we want to clean up how it goes from one card to the next. Issue swiping. We're just going to take out the swipe bar and just use the chevron arrows. The proposed improvements, again here, just change it to new card. Once they press save, it'll say saved with our fantastic icon right there. And here's the next, and then so here's what it'll look like to move from screen to screen or from card to card. Hit chevron arrow forwards or backs, and then they can just click on the flashcard itself to see the back. As far as learnings go, the successes, competitive analysis was a success. Just to start thinking of how you want to make your card, find the negatives and see, how you can make things better. Importance of feedback was fantastic. It was really wonderful to see how the 23-year-old responded totally different from the 40-year-old. The 40-year-old instantly went into crisis mode. How do I use this thing? Whereas 23-year-old relaxed back in her chair and just smoothly played along with it. Leaned back in her chair, 40-year-old was sitting upright and sitting forward. All hands on deck. User interview skills. There's a lot to learn with that. How you ask questions informs how they will respond. But we got to the right place. The crazy eights and low fidelity work was good to get the brains moving. Initially, you try to just hammer it out straight out, but there's something magic about having to work very quickly, and that's where the success comes. As far as obstacles, it's a slower process to get feedback. It's pulling teeth, trying to get people to commit to one place at one time. Honorarium, I think, would be key. Also, it's a longer process. But at the end of the day, the successes far outweigh the obstacles. Thank you so much for listening to the presentation.